Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and today we're going to get a look at what's inside the Civivi Praxis. Alright, so this one is a little different from the Backlash that we've already had apart, but as you're going to see, so far these Civivi knives are all built very much the same. So let's get cracking. And I am going to try something this time. I'm not going to take this pocket clip off. It is very simply held on with two screws right there. If you wanted to swap it to the other side of the knife, you would take those two screws out, lift the pocket clip off of there, put the pocket clip back down, put the two screws in right there. Easy enough. But I think I may be able to get away with just taking the two body screws out and the pivot out to get this thing apart. Let's see. I'm probably wrong, but we'll see. I do believe, and we'll look at this screw and see. I don't think I mentioned this in the video on the other knife, but I am seeing we using what looks like, and you can't go by color whenever we talk about the industrial use of Loctite, but it sure does feel like the low strength thread locker, like your what we would consider purple, and that's what we're going to put back in it today. We've got some Vibrotite low strength thread locker or purple thread locker that we'll be putting in it. Now, always do open the blade, and you should tape the blade up before you do this. I do it this way because, well, I'm dumb, and I do enough of these and I've been cut enough times that I kind of know how to keep from getting cut. And is this going to work, or are we going to have to take that pocket clip off? I think it did work. Now, here's the deal with why you might want to take the pocket clip off. The pocket clip screws directly into the liner. And see how they made those screws nice terminations so they don't stick out into the knife? There's our stop pin down in there, nice and tight. The liners are well skeletonized out, but you might want to take the pocket clip off. You might not. If you have problems getting the knife apart, definitely do go ahead and take the pocket clip and that scale off before you start having to stick spudgers or anything in there. And there is the inside of the knife. It is very much like the this is the Praxis. It was the Backlash we took apart. As we can see here, we do have what appears to be a stainless, and that thing is going to be a pain in the butt to see if we can pull some light off of it and get a better. There we go. Does appear to be stainless for the bearings, just like we said. I really didn't believe that in the beginning because, well, why would you order a whole bunch of the same size bearings, half of them stainless, half of them ceramic? Wouldn't you just order boatloads of the ceramic ones and keep the price down? Well, guess not. Okay, so Civivi knives. They have this little guy right here. That's a little step on the back side of the Civivi side of the pivot screw. And whenever you go to put one of these back together, slide that in there. Make sure that matches up with that little step right there. And what I want to see is, are they all going to point the same way? I think they are. There it is. Is that right? So there's two of them. They're all pointing that way. There's a third one. They're all pointing like that. So that's the way your Civivi screw or pivot screw needs to point. All right, so we're going to clean this up a little bit, try not to spill any more acetone on the leather. So I don't have to, well, I'm going to have to recondition it now at some point because, we spilled some earlier. It wasn't fun. But that's okay. That cleaned up. I do want to clean up the insides of these liners. And you guys can fuss at me for using acetone. I know I should use alcohol. You've told me 100 times, and I'm still not going to do it. Because, well, I know where I can use acetone, where I can't. And you do need to be aware of where you lose it and where you use it and where you don't. One thing has changed. See this? We do have a pin through here. And it is a free pin. So be aware of that in this model. We've got a free pin in the back spacer, and that pin goes Oh, come on. Goes right there. So there we go. Slides in there nicely. Just be aware of that. In some models, it might be a little looser and may fall out on you whenever you take the knife apart. Not that it would be that big a deal. That's just a little bit of extra structural integrity that we's given you in case you put a lanyard on there. If you're don't have a lanyard tugging on that all the time, it's probably not necessary. But hey, it's there, so we're going to leave it. Put our bearings in, and all of the Civivi knives so far, the blades have been counterbored. What does a counterbore mean? Counterbore means that we have a flat bottom hole in the blade on both sides. Very nicely done. So that means that we put the bearings in with the open side of the race up. So it'll sit down inside that counterbore and keeps a little bit of extra crap from getting down in there. Because it's a whole lot easier to get crap in this side of the bearing than it is this side of the bearing. That's all that's about, guys. Nothing more than that. And we'll lay this guy down in there. Get a little more of our 10-weight nano oil. And, you know, guys, I use 10-weight. You could use 5. You could use, well, if you wanted to, you use the 85. I just find that the 10-weight tends to work a little better in most applications for everyday carry. If you're doing other things, you may want no oil, and you can run these bearings no oil. Is it really good for them? Probably not, but I don't really think it's going to hurt them that bad either. And there we go. Had to squish that back there a little bit. It didn't want to go. And we did not clean off these screws, so we're going to get our Scout Leather Company drivers. That's where these drivers come from. This is a titanium one. No, I am not sponsored by any of these people, but I do like Scout Leather Company's drivers. I've got this titanium one, and I've got a couple of these, though one of them took an airplane ride and hadn't made it back to me yet, and may not ever, and that's okay, because I'll end up with some different ones, I think. But I do rather like the Scout Leather Company drivers. They just they seem to be the right length for my hand, knurled in the right places. And whenever you put these power driver bits from Weehaw in there or Philo, they just seem to work really, really well. So there we go. Everything's cleaned up now. Now we get to get the messy blue purple Loctite out. Say it again, no one has come up with a place for me to get this stuff as of this recording. You know, you may have already in the real world in real time, but whenever I was recording this, no one had come up with a place for me to get purple Loctite in gel yet. And so there we go, got some purple Loctite on the pivot, stuck it down in there. Do the same thing with these two body screws. And guys, this is going to be one of those, yeah, slam, you know, bam, and well, anyhow, it's going to go together really quick and easy. And now, not all of them are going to. That one backlash I took apart, wow, was it stuck together. But once it came apart, it was nice and easy and fine. But initially, I wasn't sure I was going to get it apart. If you guys watched that one, it took a little persuading. There we go. And purpley Loctite down this one. There we go. Got a nice pretty 9 CR18 blade. That is that setting centered? Yep. I always goof that up because you have to see it be centered. You have to have everything perfectly square with the camera. And if I move anything just a little bit, it looks like it's off. You know, so that's something to be aware of if you're buying knives for people off the internet. Moving the camera around some can really change the centering of a knife. And there aren't any really good angles to get it from to make sure. You got to make sure that knife is square to the camera to see where the end of that tip of that blade is. Anyhow, guys, that's what's inside the We Knife Company Praxis. Pretty cool knife from We Knife Company. And look at that. No blade play. Freaking drop shutty action. Probably going to sell about $42, $43. I just don't think you're going to be able to beat it. They have surprised me again. Anyhow, this is the second one. We'll get down to the Naja here real soon. We'll get a look inside that guy. You guys have a wonderful day. Do not forget to check us out right here on the Zelrick YouTube channel every week with the Apex News, where I gather all the news up into one big ball of wax so it's easy for you to get through. Even give you a whole list of links down in the descriptions and over at the apexnews.com. And you guys have a wonderful day. I will see you next time.